Welcome to Pop Culture Retro, which was recently voted the 15th best podcast by the residents of Golden Years Retirement Community in Boca Raton, Florida. Each show will revisit some of your favorite pop culture memories with insider and outsider perspectives. Now, please help me welcome your hosts, Moosie Drier and Jonathan Rosen.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen, along with Moosie Drier, and today we are thrilled to welcome someone who's had significant roles on many popular shows, including Superstore, 2.5 Men, The X's. She's been in films like The Ring 2, Horrible Bosses 2, and Holiday Twist.
And health insurance.
That's a given. I can't believe you don't have it already.
And a paid vacation.
Oh, now hang on a second. There's only so much.
That's right, Mike. And today we have 3 modern-day Edisons who've created a new shower gadget they hope to really clean up with.
We came up with the shower buddy.
Why would your buddy be in the shower with you?
Why would your dad?
Uh-oh. Mommy's gonna be on TV really soon. Am I okay? Do I look okay?
I am so sorry. Going back. An angel? All right, we get it. It's snowing.
Yeah, sure, like a co-host. Like Kelly Ripa.
Yes.
Sandra, you're from Hawaii, but you've never been to the beach.
Where do hermit crabs live?
Get a load of her.
Where don't they live? You know what I mean?
Please help us welcome Kelly Stables.
Hello, Kelly.
Hello.
Well, we have a lot to cover, but we want to start by going back with you. So you grew up in Missouri, where you were a cheerleader, prom queen, and senior class president. I mean, I don't see how you could have had time for anything else, but were you involved in theater also?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, we did. I tried to do every play musical that I could at Lafayette High School in St. Louis. And then at Mizzou, I got involved in theater there too. So I minored in theater at Mizzou. And yeah, I love theater.
Hi, Kelly.
Oh, hi, Moosie.
So
Yeah,
let's just get to it now. Thanks, Kel.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, we'll get it out of the way. Kelly's a good buddy of mine who I and you'll only hear this once. I absolutely love and adore and admire and respect, and she's probably my favorite actor who I get to do theater with. So there, get that out of the way.
That every actor that you bully into being an actor for you.
Well, I'm going to change my my description of you after saying that. No, I really mean it, Kel. Thanks for coming.
No, I love being with you on stage and acting when you get to direct too. And I will say this one time, but it is so fun to be directed by you, because part of the joy that we sometimes lose touch with, but the joy of being an actor is being free enough to feel like you can play on stage, and you somehow make us feel like you're giving us freedom to play. I know it's well directed and intentionalness, but as an actor and the other actors in the shows that you've directed feel the same way, as you really allow us to enjoy ourselves when we're doing a play, which it's not just, performance notes and this and upstage
Right.
and moving here, but we really get to have fun and enjoy it.
I appreciate that. You're a great collaborator. And enough about us in our theater. So, who did you watch when you were a kid? Like, who were your favorite actors growing up?
Do you guys remember that show Punky Brewster?
Totally.
Oh, of course,
Soleil Moon
yes.
Frye. We have the same
You were
birthday.
probably on Punky Brewster at one point, Moosie. Were you?
No.
Okay. So that was like when you kids say like, oh, I identify with somebody on TV. Not that I was an orphan, but she was a little girl, and she had a lot of confidence, and she made good moral decisions. And so I loved that show growing up. I was like, that's the character, that's the girl I like. And then I was like, and also like, I kind of want to do that. Well, be an actor. And so, although I think Punky wanted to be an astronaut. So, I mean, I had her hair her high tops. I would get those sunshine, rubber bands. I even would talk like her. Like she pronounced her G's. I remember I'm walking. And so I started talking that. My mom's like, what are you doing? I'm like, walking.
And Punky Brewster. See what I learned already?
These nuggets are just going to come up.
Out of college, you moved to LA. You're going to be an
Yes.
actress. Did that make you nervous? Were your folks supportive of that? I don't even know that. Were your parents supportive of that? And what was your first gig when you got here? That's like a three-parter.
I'm gonna hit them all. So graduated college early because I knew I wanted to either go to New York or LA to pursue acting.
Mhm.
And so I moved out here in the Ides of March of 2000. Parents were very supportive. And this is what I just knew this is what I wanted to do. Like I've known ever since I was like 3.
Mhm.
And so, but the way they phrased it was they're like, why don't you try to get a degree in something other than like theater? And the way they phrased it was really smart. They're like, so that they didn't say so you have something to fall back on. They're like, so if you change your mind in what you want to do, you can have a degree in something, different. So I got the easiest degree, which is communications, which is why I was able to graduate early. Yeah. So moved out here. My sister had bought me like inflatable furniture because I didn't know anybody when I moved out here. Like no one. I knew my aunt's great aunt who lived in Irvine. That's like the one person I knew.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I moved in a little studio apartment, had inflatable furniture, and it was like Easter week. It was right around Easter weekend, so I was like, I should go to church. So I looked in the yellow pages, found a church, and I met a couple there who was like, hey, there's an opening at my theater company to answer phones in this. So that's why I got a job at Theater West. It was like administrative work, so which I hate. So it was like answering phones, filing, doing computer work, but they had an apprentice program for people who couldn't afford dues. So like on Saturday, and they were like younger people.
Mhm.
That's where I met Adam Conger.
Yeah.
So so Saturday mornings we'd like literally clean the theater, like toilets and floor
Good
and
times.
backstage and that. So and then afterwards we take like acting class. So I did that on Saturdays.
It's probably where you met Lloyd Schwartz and Barbara.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I remember. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let me ask, 'cause I was looking at, all your career. So early on, you had parts in Haunted Mansion and Spider-Man. So just what was it like for you, though, someone coming from Missouri to then be in a Disney production or Sony production with like people like Eddie Murphy and Tobey Maguire and Sam Raimi? So did you get to interact with anyone?
You know, as you probably know, like when you're actually doing it, it doesn't feel like a big thing when you're doing it because you're so close to it.
Mhm.
So, but I guess like when you put it that way, like if someone would be like, oh, someone came to Missouri and out from Missouri and she did this and this and this, and you're like, oh, that's great. But when you're in it, it just feels normal.
Right.
It was cool getting to be directed by Hideo Nakata in The Ring too, and to kind of hear how his brain worked in regards to directing a horror movie. So I got to learn like a really cool things like with that, and just in regards to how what can be the most powerful tool is someone's own imagination of what's scary as opposed to showing them what's really scary.
Mhm.
So like that's why when I played Samara, like they had my face covered up for most of it except for that like one shot where it goes like that, because then people are going to be more scared to be like what's behind that hair as opposed to like if they just show her face like right away. Quentin Tarantino does that.
Spielberg, you didn't see the shark in Jaws
Right.
until well into the film.
Right. So it's like, and that's like afraid of like the unknown or people's imagination.
Totally. And I'm out. I'm out. Get me out of the water. Like
Yeah,
I don't need to see it. I don't need. Like,
I don't want to. No. Yeah. And it's like, yeah.
or you were in you were a cheerleader. I think it was Bring It On Again.
Yes. I've done a lot of sequels.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Even though it had already been brought in.
Hey, we need to bring more of it on.
Yes.
Okay, I think I screwed up. Dang it!
Is that one of your first things? Bring It On Again?
Oh, the first thing. No.
No.
I feel like my first job.
Geeks?
Oh, you know what?
Greek.
What?
Greek?
Or that. Okay,
Okay.
my very first job was for a TV pilot that did not get, this is interesting, that did not get picked up, called The Grubs. And I played in a flashback, they were flashing back to when she was like really nerdy in high school. So they used me, and I had like really bad, like a skin condition. And so they put all this like prosthetic stuff. So anyway, I think that was like my first like TV, but I had no idea what was going on.
Okay, so you did the 2 Ring movies. The first one, you did your own stunts. What did you do?
Okay, so let me trace you back. So somehow, and like I said, when I moved here, I didn't know anybody. And so someone somewhere down the line was like, you need to sign up so you can get on set. You should sign up with Central Casting and be an extra. So you can be on set and hear the lingo and that. So I'm like, okay. Well, one of the first things they sent me out on was to be an extra in Planet of the Apes. You guys remember? With Mark Wahlberg. I was both a monkey in that and a dirty human in that. Well,
yeah, you were.
Okay. And I mean that literally and metaphor.
Wow.
And so when I was a monkey, they put us in some prosthetics, and through that, I met Rick Baker.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Legendary makeup artist. Also, nicest guy in the world. And I think he was like, oh, she's the size of a kid, right? So when he did the makeup for the Ring movies, so they used me as a like photo double initially for the first Ring movie, but they were like, well, actually, also, can you do stunts? Because we need to do some underwater work. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do stunts, but I've gone scuba diving and I can use like a respirator, whatever. So they end up using me for that in the first movie. And then when the sequel came about, they're like, let's just use Kelly for everything. And the crazy turn of events was, so I worked every day on that movie as Samara. Okay. And the actress who played her in the first movie, W.I.T.C.H, lovely gal, they used like a flashback scene from her in that movie, but because they used her image, she got like the credit as like Samara in the movie, and then they gave me a credit as like evil Samara in the movie, and I was like, but she didn't even work a day on the movie. How come she's getting a credit? And so my agents at the time had to like fight for me just to get a credit.
Wow.
And yeah, so they were like, well, and this and that. So
yeah, welcome to show business.
Show business.
Yeah. So I was like, what? But so anyway, so that was that. So, but yeah, I mean, they did like stunts, but the stunts were like going underwater and holding your breath. So that like qualified as a stunt.
Oh, you mean you're swimming? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, you live to tell about. Tom Cruise would never. I mean,
no.
Were you surprised with how popular the first one? Because it was like, this is before social media, and it became something like a phenomenon with like everyone was talking about putting in the videotape. Like, would you watch the videotape with this? So were you surprised at how popular it became?
I guess so. I don't know. I don't think I paid much attention. I mean, it wasn't my type of film, like the film that I would normally watch. And so, but I was grateful for that time. It was hard work and patience because it took 5.5 hours for them to put on that prosthetic makeup. It took 5.5 hours in the makeup chair. And then it was DreamWorks who had a bit of a budget, so they could shoot like all day, and then an hour and a half to take it off, to take the makeup off. That's when they would like, when the shots required like to see me from head to toe. When it was like just like a close up or like just like my feet like walking with like dripping water, then it wasn't that long. But on the days where it was like, full, but it was cool. They had like many different wigs that cost varying amounts of money, like so much money.
You're making a horror film. Is there like a different mindset during filming? Like, do things scare you at all? Because you're the one making it, you just disassociate yourself from it?
I was never scared. The only time I was somewhat scared was in one of the bathtub scenes. There were light bulbs in the bathtub so they could get the lighting right.
Wow, yeah.
I kind of was like, I hope that these have been like properly sealed or whatever needs to be done. Yeah. But like, no, like I wasn't scared. At the time I was like living with like 3 girls in a fun little house in Burbank, and you know, and I'd come home at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I'd like sneak past the TV and make sure that wasn't going to go on or anything like that. But no, it was filming, you know, and then when I think I've only seen the movie like maybe once, but like I'm at the time, it's been so long now, but at the time I would watch a scene, and instead of being like, oh, I'm so scary, like I'm remembering like, oh my gosh, that's when we like had lobster that day, or like, oh, that's the day that they gave me that giant bowl of blueberries. Everything is about food. But so no, it was not scary. Doing comedies is more fun on set.
Sure.
That was extremely technical. It was extremely technical.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So I just want to say though, like when it comes to like, oh gosh, there's light bulbs into the water or whatever, you know, we have swimming pools with lights in it and all that stuff. But also, I don't think you should ever worry about that because they have their second choice on speed dial at any moment if something goes wrong. So
Right.
it's not, production will not be held up much.
Fine. That's a relief.
So that's what I know. That's what you're worried about.
That's what I was really concerned about. Yeah. It's clearly they, you know, we're concerned about me. Happy to give credit and all that.
So 2.5 Men, you had a recurring role. You were also there during the infamous season 8. What was that experience like being on that show? Was season 8 any different than the other seasons? Were you privy or cognizant of the whole Chuck Lorre, Charlie situation going on?
It was, I loved being on that show. I don't know if you've ever interacted with also the nicest person in the world, John Cryer. He is so funny. I think a terrific actor.
You are so good with the patients, Dr. Harper.
Oh, thank you.
Just you're warm and personable and funny.
I'm all right. But the patients love you.
No?
Don't give me no.
I'm giving you no.
Well, I'm not taking no.
Don't make me blush.
I'm making you blush.
Well, I'm blushing.
I don't think he gets enough credit for like what he did on that show, and he was just a wonderful, nice human being. And that show was very precise, and you knew that it was like at a level. Like at the time that I was on it, I think it was like the most watched comedy on TV.
Oh wow.
I think. And so I think I started in season 6, and that set, like when you go to like the sound stage, it was quiet. It was quiet. Like it was just very precise, and there's no like shenanigans going on at the crafties table. And if there was, someone was over there and putting that down, you know, quiet. So people were there to work and this was my experience, and to just do exactly what Chuck Lorre wanted to see done. And I think by that point, like Big Bang was just starting to get super popular. Like it was maybe in end of season 1, early 2. But by that point, like everyone knew like Chuck Lorre was like the man. And so because of that, they're like, whatever he wants, we're just going to do that. But yes, like when we started in season 6, I feel like Charlie had just had twins, like those twin boys, and was just, you know, looked very healthy and, you know, everything like that. And then by the end of it, it was, you know, I think it was just very sick. And so I didn't know the war between those two was going on. I didn't hear any of that. You know, there was never like on set like this.
Right.
There was oftentimes, and even when the audience was there, that we were like, oh, we need to start. Not everyone's here, if you know what I mean. Like, waiting. Like, we didn't know where we might be. But like, so I was kind of like, oh, you know, but it wasn't my place to be like, I kind of read the room.
Yeah.
And I wanted to survive, so I kind of do that. Read the room. I want to survive, so I know my place.
Smart cookie.
So none of the behind the scenes stuff leaked out onto recording, the Chuck Lorre and Charlie Sheen stuff.
Not when I was there. Not when I was there.
I want to talk about a little bit your voice acting. You had a part in a film I genuinely love, Hoodwinked. It's such a fun movie. So I'm not lying. Whenever my family has schnitzel now, we do the call of the song like schnitz. So was that your first role as a voice actor, and just how did you get involved in that?
Yeah, so I am friends with the director Corey Edwards, who maybe he wrote it and directed it, but I'm friends with him. And I'll tell you the interesting story about that movie. That was so long ago. Um, I I auditioned for Little Red in that film,
Okay.
and I did not get it, but someone else got it. Who got credit for Little Red? Do you know? Can you look that up?
I thought it was Hathaway. I'm gonna have to look now. So
Yes. Do you know who originally got cast?
no.
I think it was Tara Strong.
Oh,
So
really?
like the top 5 billed were voice actors that originally got cast. Because I didn't get Little Red, they gave me the part of the Schnitzel kid. And because it was small enough, once it got so much attention and got some bigger studios involved in it, they didn't fire. They just revoiced those top like 5 roles with names.
Oh my.
So,
yeah.
but mine was small enough that they didn't care. So my role, they're like, no one's going to care. A name gets the Schnitzel kid. So yeah.
And so Tara was replaced, or like?
Yes.
That's so crazy because you and her, I mean, you're in your credits. It's just ridiculous that, and then they'll just go, hey, and then put a name.
Available?
What's
What
that?
did you say? No, I was saying, I thought you were going to say, hey, Anne Hathaway's available.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But she needs the money, so let's put her in there, and let's, and all these, good, talented workers like Tara Strong and Kelly Stables. Just, I don't know. That just never made sense.
I know, and I guess I am middle aged because these things make me crabby now. But that is my biggest pet peeve is that they're just it used to be movies. Everyone stayed in their lane. Movie stars were like proud to be in movies. TV stars were like, I'm in TV. Working actors were like, I am happy to get on a TV show. I'm going to maybe get a commercial, but we're going to make and this is all going to work.
Yeah.
You have like movie stars doing like coffee commercials. So it's like, all of that. They're not okay. They're not good. Like with what they have, it's just very, very yucky.
Yeah. Alec Baldwin's here. Alec, come on in and respond to what Kelly has to say.
It's crazy.
I know.
I'm just not going out a little bit commercially. At these commercials now, they're like, I can't all of these commercials are like, there's so-and-so's what's her name? Schitt's Creek. Or no, not Schitt's Creek. She was at, who I'm talking about? Jennifer Coolidge. Like Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh, yeah.
Doing commercials.
Yeah.
Walter Biggins is doing Walmart. I'm like, there can't have a commercial without like a celebrity in it. I'm just like, oh, it's just very weird.
Matthew McConaughey and
is it Harrison Ford now, like in a Jeep commercial or something?
Which is ironic because Ford.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Can he do that crossover legally? His last name's Ford, for goodness sake.
So.
What about Witch? Were you a fan of the comics?
No, I knew nothing about it. I'm wondering if I replaced someone. I feel like way early on there was a cast, and then they might have replaced. I don't know. There was like an animation company called Jetix. I think they did that, but I think it aired on ABC Family, that show. Which but I'm trying to even remember. I think I just the heck did I honestly don't remember. I didn't have an agent at the time that I auditioned for it, so I don't know if I knew the casting director. I can't even remember who cast it. I feel like the casting director I read for on-camera thing, and she's like, hey, can you come read for this? And then I got it. I feel like. Yeah. But I don't, because I remember, because that's how I got a voiceover agent, was like, I'm on this show. And then they're like, oh, we'll represent you.
Well, that show, Witch, has a lot of fans. But after the first season, like Disney decided to change the tone of the show. It was like more comedic, and they said to make it darker. So it's like one of those things that's like mind-boggling to me that Hollywood does. Like the first season is successful, let's change it. So is that something that the cast noticed the happening, that they decided to change the tone?
I mean, the scripts are. I mean, I think we noticed, but what are we gonna do about it? So
Mhm.
yeah, and it is weird how we did that. I Not to answer one of your future questions, but that happened on as a network, the TV Land network too, like TV Land when Betty White. We can go back to Which if you want, but this is a side note. Remember when so when I was on the X's, it was on TV Land.
Right.
That's when they had Betty White on Hot in Cleveland, and they had what's her name, Kirstie Alley on a so they were TV Land was like, we're gonna take not old but like previously known people who were for
Right.
sitcoms and make our network based on, we're gonna redo sitcoms, and they were so successful with that. And they started to build, TV Land started to build their name, and like people were like, oh yeah, I watched that. Oh yeah, Hot in Cleveland. Oh yeah, the X's. Like, and then TV Land was like, you know what we need to do? We need to be edgy and single camera. So now, granted, we had like 60 or 70 episodes, so we were grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
But it never then people didn't want that. They thought they would be like, I remember that. I remember talking to a exec, and they're like, yeah, we really feel like, it's the way to go. So they
Yeah.
canceled all the sitcoms, and then they started making these single camera edgy shows. Nobody liked it.
We're going to take everything that's working and we're going to stop doing that.
Mm-hmm. Where were you? You had me worried to death. It's already noon. You didn't show up to work, and oh my God, you've had sex. Stick with me, and you'll do things you're ashamed of for years.
You had a guest spot, which it was never aired, on one of the most infamous TV shows in history, Cavemen. So you had an appearance toward the end of the series. I just wonder, what was your experience on that show and the mood of the cast?
That was my first guest star. So I was excited to get that part, even though I played a prepubescent boy in facial hair, and I looked like a cave boy. I played a cave boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like had to like ace bandage my lady parts, but I got it. I loved it. And I was like, you know what? Can I have braces? And they're like, sure. So I got fitted for like fake braces, and they would like, I was like a 13-year-old cave boy. So cave people are hairier anyway. So they put like, after the prosthetics to make my forehead look, cavemen-y, they like put glue on me. Then they flocked to me with like little flecks of hair to get the facial hair to look like it was like sticking. So I had to hold like a static ball. Because when you're like, you hold a static ball, your hair like sticks up. They'd like shoot like hair flecks at my face. But I thought it added to the authenticity, so I was into it. So that show, that was like Nick Kroll was in that show,
Right,
Bill
yes.
English, funny Sam Huntington, funny people, and yes. I was on one episode, and they're like, "Oh, we got to have your character recur." And then the writer's strike happened, which killed a lot of shows, thankfully, including that show.
We went to the coolest place ever, the Wolf Bone place. Ka-ka!
The kid's a natural. He rolled a triple bone twice.
Made an old man cry.
So you came on to Superstore after it started. What season did you come on?
Superstore I think it was season 3.
Was that show welcoming to any and all new people, or was it like, well, we're kind of already family, you got to work your way in?
Right. So I would say in most cases that would have been my experience, is that you're like, oh, they don't care to meet me.
Mm-hmm.
But that show really had like, it was so inclusive, and they were so nice and friendly, and the writers were as well. But yeah, and what also was unique about that show is they were in like season 3, and like I would say like all of the actors were still grateful to be on a show in season 3. You know how season 3 kicks in and people are usually like, this is ridiculous. Ugh, I don't have this, and I hate the writers and that the storyline. And they were like happy to show up to work, and yeah.
How many people, after the strike and COVID and the way the industry is right now, it's all slowed down, would love to be in that season 3 without maybe one or two things they wish they had.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but for some reason, they had, I think, like Mark McKinney had done a lot of work, and a lot of people on that show and they were just grateful for the job, and so that carried through, and their kindness to me, and I was so excited to be on that show because I was a fan of that show before I got on that show. So like my first scene that we shot, I loved when they would do like break room scenes, and you get to like see everyone's cutaways to the reaction of what was going on. And so my first scene on Superstore was a break room scene, and my character, and maybe this is something I just kind of used because I was so excited to be in that room with those characters because I love those characters. So my character was actually excited, so I wasn't really acting. But I will say when I got cast, or when I was even auditioning and testing, it was like my name was like Carolyn or something like that. And then at my wardrobe fitting, you have like your clothes set up and you can see the character's name, and they had like Kelly, and I was like, oh, like, and so then Justin Spitzer, the showrunner, was like, we kind of just been calling her Kelly now. Do you mind if we just change your character's name to Kelly? So I was like, sure, that's fine.
Hey.
Kelly.
Yes.
Which was all fine until the scene when they were like making fun of me, and they're like, hi, I'm Kelly, and like down on their knees.
You took it a little personally because it's your actual name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a lot of making fun of name sympathy for people. That's really yeah. Hey, wait, Kelly, what show was it that wasn't the Michael Hamill? Michael Hamill.
That was the Exes.
Exes, yeah, and Mindy Schultz is his partner. Yeah, he loves you.
About Mindy last night.
You had a what?
Dream about Mindy last night.
Should I stop recording? Let's move on to this holiday twist. But how did that come about? You worked with Sean Astin. It was a holiday movie. How much fun was that? And how perfect are you for these Christmas Hallmarky films?
Oh, thank you. Well, I didn't audition for this one. I met the director and writer of it, Stephanie Garvin, she's just a magical person. And she somehow makes things, she's like a fairy. She somehow just makes things happen that seem impossible. And I met her through the Burbank International Film Festival. She was on the board. And so she was like, I got this movie and I really want it made. And then so she just offered me the part, actually. And she was like, have her read, see if you like it. And so I did. I love Christmas movies, and I love Christmas, and love the message of it, which is to have hope and to be a light in the world. And so we shot it, and there's always drama with shooting an independent movie and things that go on. Yep. And that was the challenge. Was I tried to kind of help put out the fires, as opposed to like just going and like concentrating on the scene, which I think in hindsight, I wish I could just like not care about anything that's going on and just go and do my scene, but that's not in me. But it was working with Sean Astin was awesome, and he was really nice. And I remember like no one knew how he was going to be because he's very well known, and we know him more from Rudy than we do like Lord of the Rings. But we all we're meeting and we're like hanging out, and we were shooting on location, so like we were in the area, we were like hanging out before we went into makeup, and he's like, hey, I'm Sean, this and that, and so I'm like saying hi, and he's like, so who wants to hear a Lord of the Rings story? And like people were like, yeah. So like he had no like problem like talking about it and like telling really cool, interesting stories about shooting that.
I only work for you. I'm not the reason why your life is a disaster. God forbid anybody smiles or enjoys their life. Thank you for sharing. I am getting a Christmas tree for the office.
Good for you. Why don't you just stand in the corner? Because you're dressed like one.
We're talking about Christmas real quick. Kelly wrote this piece for theater one time I directed. We did a couple versions of it. It was one of the funniest pieces of it. It's called Joy, Joy, Joy. And that's her character. She wrote, her character's name is Joy. And she's a ho-ho-ho-holic.
Yeah.
Yes. Who just could not stop living, loving, breathing, spitting Christmas. It was so good. Was Joy, Joy, Joy. Anyway.
Thank you. I really want to write more.
Yeah.
I have so much admiration for writers because I tried to take a writing class one time at UCLA and I was like, it's just so hard to write. Because they wanted very like you got to have your structure and then fill it in. And I think opposite. I think funny conversations or funny quirks about someone. And so I couldn't wrap my head around getting that structure written down first.
To become a great comedic actress or actor or whatever, you have to be a good actor to start with, because 99% of the time you're not a clown, you're not an insect, you're not playing the character. You have to play the comedy straight in order for it to work. You're versatile, because I know I've seen you do some serious stuff, and it's like, damn, she's not just funny.
Well, thanks, Moosie. I appreciate that. I do 100%. Everything needs to be grounded in an authenticity and just a very honest, stripped down place as an artist. And if it's not, it's actually even not fulfilling, as an artist. And so being that the industry is what it is right now, just very slow, and I'm taking this time to kind of get in touch with that again. And I'm in a great studio right now I'm doing scene study work, and it's so fulfilling because a lot of it is dramatic work, or I guess classified as that. But I would like to see, I think the right things come at the right time. As far as roles and that.
Yeah.
It's very fulfilling to be able to do some more dramatic work. And the comedy is just going to come in because my point of view on life is, I can be laughing at a funeral and, it's hard when you're on a show, you forget how great it is, because it's really hard to get on a show. When you're on a show, you're just like, yeah, this is that, and catering, and just give me my call time, and I'll show up and say the lines that I worked not at all on because someone else wrote them. And now we're back to the point where it's like, okay, like we have to, like, whether it's you're a writer or, and especially in today's day and age of like self-taping, it's like we have to be everything. We have to be the lighting, we have to be, I don't want to like create content on social media. I don't want to create a shtick and have a thing and put up. That's not where my heart is. I want to get deeply involved in a character and bring that to life.
Right.
I don't want to be like, oh, she's the funny mom that her car's messy. Like, it's just, I'm not interested in doing that.
Back in my day, you'd go to an audition, you'd go read for the network, I'd say, hi, Errol Flynn, and, Chaplin. And, except for Chaplin, I just go, see, because he was a silent, no, but you go in and like, you either pass or fail the human test, the air, you're sharing the same air with other humans. You're not putting yourself on tape. And there's nothing like that. I don't know how they cast that. I don't know how they do that. I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how.
A couple years ago, I made it as far as I was going to test for a part on, it was either Disney or Nickelodeon. I think it was Disney or Nickelodeon, and it was to be mom in one of those shows. And so this was for the test, and it was on Zoom. for the chemistry test. And the guy playing my husband, so I was like this. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to try not to judge it. I'm going to try and go with it. And halfway through the read, the dude's screen blanked out and his logo popped up. So I was like, how am I supposed, and I should have been like, oh, I don't see him. I'm looking at his logo, but I didn't because you have that theater thing and it just, and I did not get it, but I'm like, how are they benefiting from that?
No.
I don't know. But
What are
it
you gonna
is what it is. So,
Yeah.
Well, Moosie and I are both big baseball fans. Read that you're a big Cardinals fan, which
Oh,
we all-
wait. Can you say that again?
She follows the Cardinals. So,
I'm sorry.
was it Missouri? Did you go to a lot of games as a kid? I want to know if you had any favorite players. And
I totally did. Yes. So let me tell you something. When you go to a St. Louis Cardinals game, this was back in the old Busch Stadium. Okay. Like in St. Louis, you show up, like people are set in their seats. They already have their food for the first pitch. I do love the Dodgers now. Okay. I've lived in LA 25 years. I'm a Dodgers fan as well. However, people roll in like second inning, third inning. But in St. Louis, people are like, they have their like scorecards. They're like, keeping track like this, or they're listening on the radio, what used to be to like Jack Buck while the game was going. And they're just in it. And there's no judgment. That's just the culture there. So when I was little and we'd go to the games and they were way up high, but it didn't matter. And so my favorite player of all time was Ozzie Smith, number one. Retired his jersey, I think. But at that time, it was like Willie McGee, Vince Coleman, and then Whitey Herzog was the manager.
Yeah.
So I got to see those guys like play in their baby blue uniforms. And I remember my dad, like whenever, first of all, I remember him telling me like, Kelly, watch, like if Ozzie got a bad call on him, like if he was safe and they called him out, he's like, he's going to keep his cool. He may go talk to the umpire, but he will never like get in that guy's face. And so really, like, I feel like Ozzie exemplified like good sportsmanship. And he would always, even if he popped it up, no matter what, he would run as hard as he can to first base. Because you never know. Because my dad's like, because you never know.
I just want to verify. So you were like a big 80s Cardinals fan in the era that I absolutely hated the Cardinals.
Well, don't tell me you were a Mets fan.
Yeah, of course I was. Still, yeah.
That's horrible. I remember when we played you guys, they had the logo of the Mets. And you have your like dumb little skyscraper. We made like the green sky, and we're like,
I know the whole pond scum thing. I remember.
Yeah, because you said, "Oh, you guys are a cow town," so we brought our cowbells, right?
I'm a fan of the game first before I am a Dodger fan. I'm a huge Dodger fan. I don't care what team they play on. Like I love that kind of player. The one who's showing your two boys how to play baseball. That's the last positive thing I'm going to say about that team in red.
Ha! Well, Dave Eckstein used to play for the Angels, and he went on to play for the Cardinals. I think he won the MVP when the Cardinals won the World Series. He would do the same thing. He would dash to first no matter what.
No matter what.
Oftentimes he would make it there to first. But yeah, baseball is such a great game, and so glad that I got to play softball as a kid and actually play. And I was probably horrible. I mean, I didn't even know I needed glasses when I was playing, and I was tiny, believe it or not. And but my kids are playing it now, and I'm on the other side in the stands trying to control myself. I did go talk to I had a fiery game last week. No, I kept my cool, but this other coach was quite the character. And when his kids would he would yell at his kids very angrily, and even one of his kids got a home run, and the kid at the plate didn't get out of the kid who was on like I don't know on deck. Second or third didn't get out of the way, and when he was running, and after he had hit home plate, he didn't get out of the way. So when the home run hitter was rounding third and got his home run, that coach just laid into him and was yelling, and then everyone was like silent. There was no celebration of this other kid's. Anyway, he was that kind of coach. So when we played him again, I was already feeling really fired up. And then also when he's coaching, he's in that third base coach's box. Not this guy. He's pretty much like walking to home plate to talk to his batters and coming back and yelling and this and that and this and that. We have a boy on our team who doesn't have a dad. His first time playing baseball, and he was hit really hard with the baseball. So he struggles with whenever the pitch is thrown, he backs out of the batter's box. And this guy's like, call him out, call him out. He's backing out of the batter's box. Wow. And meanwhile, he's going home plate to talk to his kids. So I'm like, all right, that's it. So I just calmly went over where when we were up to bat, and I took a little sip of water, and I'm like, he has got to stay in that batter's box, huh? And he goes, yeah. I go, well, then you need to stay in your coach's box. And he goes, oh, well, then they can't hear me. I go, oh, they can hear you. I was like, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Because you didn't come over here for a drink of water, did you? I go, no, I didn't. But then he stayed in his coach's box the rest of the game. Anyway, it's a lesson in self-control that I tested on.
And also a scene on Parks and Recs. But
I do want to ask about Dogman, which is on Peacock now. Can you talk about that film a little bit?
Oh, yes. The night, again, super nice director on that. And sometimes we go in for voiceover work, and kind of a culture nowadays is the director may not be there for the loop group, or he just wants to have the sound supervisor give him samples and then he'll pick. But this director was there, and he was into it, and he loved the project. And so I was brought on for the loop group, and then they pick a couple people out to do specifics. And so I think I was picked to do Harold from Harold and is it through Captain Underpants?
Right.
Yeah. So there's like a little clip where we see those boys, and so I can do a pretty good voice of a little boy. I have two adorable boys to imitate, and so
we would never put you on the spot, because like if we did, it would sound a little like
let's see, let me get out of camera and tell you, Mom, hurry up.
Yeah, and if I remember, I think that's Georgia. Some good people you do that show with. Yeah. Skip. Yeah,
I know.
And he brought his ukulele in and did a.
Remember those days? Wildfire.
Oh yeah, Kelly and I did like every episode of this show. Jonathan, remember Wildfire about a horse?
ABC Family.
No, guys, that surprises me, Jonathan, because you impress me every day. You impress me with how much knowledge you have upstairs. Okay, so Kelly, dang it, doggone it. You killed it. You crushed it. You knocked it out of the park. You're Ozzie Smith of actors.
Yeah. We did a backflip.
Yeah, she did a backflip right into the podcast. Boom, right into that seat. Thank you, my friend.
Important for you. How can people follow you on social media?
Oof. Well, I need to post more, but we've already discussed how I don't love doing that. But the only place is Instagram, and it's just Kelly at Kelly Stables.
Yeah.
I just, I know that there's like, you should do TikTok. You have fun at TikTok. And I'm like, I just don't want to do that.
The TikTok. Well, hopefully you'll come back again. We didn't scare you off.
Oh, this was fun. Thanks for having me. This will be my last time on your show.
Son of a bitch.
I was very offended by a lot of your questions.
All right, Kel.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you again. Yes, this has been Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen, along with Moosie Drier. And again, a very special thanks to Kelly Stables. And please like, comment, and subscribe.
Don't tell me you were a Mets fan.
Yeah, of course I was. Still.
That's horrible.
Thank you for tuning in to Pop Culture Retro, where no one was hurt during the making of this podcast. Listening to this podcast just makes you really cool.